Good evening everyone, how are we all doing? It's late, I know. I'm going to try and get an hour done tonight. Let's put the football behind us. Not mention it ever again. It is Bill, yes. I've been out at the football tonight and I've literally only just got myself sorted and sat down. I had to call at the shop on the way back to pick up some bits, and then by the time I got home, got drinks and stuff. It's nearly 11 o'clock, isn't it? Good evening, Gillian. It's so nice that so many of you pop in so late. It wasn't bad. It could have been better by the football, but let's just not mention that again. There's no point getting worked up about it. It is what it is. Right, so as I said last night, I was going to try and get some more of the velux windows recut because I messed up yesterday and got glue everywhere. So first thing I did tonight when I came in from work, as you do, is set the laser cutter going. So I've cut some more bits and pieces ready to do some work. I just have to try and be a lot better with my gluing tonight and stay away from the glazing. Just keeps wanting to slide off, that does. Good evening, Leslie, how are you? Thanks for coming along. I know I'm late tonight, but I had a football match to go to, and then I had to do some shopping afterwards because we've run out of milk, as we always do. So I thought I'd come on for an hour and decompress, just get a bit of creativity done. And I did laser cut myself some more bargeboard pieces, but I think I've underestimated how many I'm going to need. In bed with a cuppa, that sounds perfect. Sorry about the headache there. Thanks for gifting. Yeah, I think I'm going to have an hour, be about midnight when I go to bed. Good evening, Harry. Actually, do we just sand in that bit? I put a first row of tiles on this morning before I went to work just to see how it looks. So I'm quite happy with that. Thought I'd just knock something on. So I'm just going to need to put the glazing on. Bloxburg. Not sure what that is. Where have I hidden my tweezers? I'm going to have to get some magnetic tweezers and have them constantly to hand because I keep losing them. These are some tweezers, but they're not the ones I was looking for. A bit like the droids. Purposefully left a little bit of plastic around the edge this time, just to give it a bit more room. Hello Louis, how are we doing? Thank you for following. So I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue there. First, let's just take the backing off. Because obviously you need to be able to see through it. And that's not working. I can't get a good enough hold. I have not put gloves on, so I'm going to have to try and keep my fingers clear of the plastic best I can. Good evening, Pip. Good evening, Anne-Louise. Good evening, everybody else that's maybe lurking and I haven't acknowledged. I don't seem to be able to share with Andy, so he may or may not catch me. He might be too late. I said I'd try and come on a bit later when I'd come back from football. So I'm still wide awake and can't say I'm buzzing because the match was appalling, but I'm still wide awake. So let's get a little bit of work done. Just have to be careful with the super glue application here because I'm too close to plastic, and this is where we went wrong yesterday. Because I was a little bit lackadaisical with the super glue application and managed to trail a little bead right over the glass, which once you've done that, it's ruined. It's screwed forever. Oh, thanks, Pip. I think I am following somehow, but I can never find it. Bet he didn't think he was coming on, so he has not been watching out. These tweezers seem like real overkill. Oh, were you? Oh, thank you. It's very flattering. Yes, I did indeed. It took a lot of work to do it, but let me just try and spin this out of the way. I get easily sidetracked and it's your fault. But yeah, we're all in now. All 3 windows are in. Those windowsills need painting grey, but yes, thank you, I did it. I don't have a lot of templates now. I am considering selling workshops, but it's I have a lot of templates now. I am considering selling workshops, but it's account demand. What people actually wanted to learn, and how to deliver it, and what sort of pricing to cost it at. It's not an easy one to do. But at present, I don't even really have the time to do any workshops. So I'm sharing my knowledge via the live situation. I know it's not quite as easy as a specific how-to, but I know I've got a couple. The only thing I've got a template of is on my both on my Etsy shop and my Ko-fi shop. It's a signal box. I've also got templates of the witch's cottage that I did last year. They're both on my shop, so I suppose they're available. The witch's cottage is 1/50th scale, and the signal box is 1/76 scale. Right, I've got those in. Shall I just see if I can, while I'm at the velux stage, if I can just get the one on the front of the house done? I might as well do the velux window as well. I've got the materials out. Except that one's covered in glue. That's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. And Pip's my biggest fan, aren't you, Pip? Yeah. I think you'd be better off going to my Ko-fi shop because there's less fees involved there. But if you go to ko-fi.com/LNR models, and then you'll see my shop within there. I'm also under LNR models on the Etsy shop. Now, which way around was this? I think it was. Have I already pulled the film off one side? And I think the answer is no, I haven't. And that's why I'm struggling, because I haven't pulled the film off. Let me know if you struggle finding it. But I think I have a link. I used to have links on my Twitter, my TikTok bio, but they seem to disappear. So for Croken, how are we doing? Thank you for reporting in. I don't know. Sometimes I really have little patience with some things, and some things I have lots of patience with. I don't know. I tend to be quite chill with model making, and I think the thing to remember with stuff like this. The thing to remember with model making is if you do start to get frustrated with it, then it's best just to walk away. It's like the other night. In fact, I think I've had 2 occasions on the previous 2 nights where I've started to get a little bit annoyed with myself because things haven't been going well. So the best thing is just calmly say, right, I'm tired. Let's just put things down now and come back to it tomorrow. But yeah, I do like to be patient because you can't rush. You can't rush into stuff because that's where mistakes happen. But as opposed to the rest of, in the real world, outside of model making, I don't know. I am in some respects and not in others. Now this is a little tight. I think I know how I'm going to rescue that. But that involves laser cutting another piece, so again, I'm going to leave that for now because what I really need to do is add another frame to the other side of that, and then that should just fit snugly. At the moment it's just going to fall straight through, so I'm going to stick that aside to come back to at another time. When I say another time, I mean tomorrow, when I can get another one output. So in the meantime, I'm just going to continue on with some of the bits that I need to do. Thank you for following. I haven't stuck this down yet because I'm still working out the final trim. Hey Yemi's cake, how big is 150 scale? It's the same scale as this one. So, in comparison, 176 scale is that figure there, and 150 scale is this door here. So you can see it's almost twice the size, maybe just a little bit more. So this is a 150 scale door, this is a 176 scale figurine. Yes, it will all light up, Matthew. I have lights in the upstairs bedrooms and the downstairs family room, so all 3 bedrooms on the front will light up, or do light up. And the 2 bedrooms upstairs have lights. Bit difficult to see when my lights are actually on, but hopefully you can see the lights coming in. It's a temporary solution with the switch there because it's going to be on a much bigger base, so I'm going to need to move where the switch is. But for the time being, I'm just adding a roof line. Yeah, I did wire. There's minimal soldering. I've actually used these clips here to join everything up in the middle. But the wires are tinned at the end. But I've actually, like I say, I've actually used these little connectors in several places. Oh, well done, Pip. Pip's found it. But I mean, yeah, you can solder as well. Lighting is fairly straightforward, really, and you can actually get kits that are just like plug and play. They're a bit more expensive, but it doesn't need to be too complicated, the wiring, because you buy the LEDs from online. They're already pre-soldered with a resistor mostly, so all you need to do is connect it to an adequate power supply. Q-tip. So I'm just going to nibble a little bit of material off the back here with an angle so it fits nicer to the existing wall there. So I've got a bit of a better snug fit there, you see. There is a bit of a gap. That will go eventually. I'm just going to sort of tape a bit of paper in the middle to act as what am I trying to say? Lead flashing. I'll commit to sticking this in now. I'm making a scale model of a client's house at the moment. So this is a 150 scale recreation of his actual house. I've been on it for about 50 hours now. Yes, it does take a lot of work, and beforehand there's probably about 10 or 15, maybe a bit more hours worth of drawing and working out to make the kit to be able to produce the framework of the model. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into it before you can actually start building. Thank you, Flyrose Stafari. Flyrose Stafari? Yeah, it's starting to look a bit more substantial now. A razor saw would be more useful here, you know, because it's quite tricky cutting through MDF when it's solid. Hello, Josh. Thank you. Yes, this is all completely scratch built. So all I've needed, yeah. What I've done is I've just had architect's plans. That was always going to happen, wasn't it? I've had architect's plans to work off for this one. And it's probably going to be easier now actually if I cut it off the model. Yeah, I've had architect's plans to work with, and as well as photographs, so that's made life a little easier. But a lot of the time I don't have access to architect's plans, so I've got to just rely on photographs. Good evening, Andy. Surprise live, because I've been out tonight, obviously. So I'm just doing a few things. It's too early to call it a night. Although I do like going to bed early. Come on, can you stick, please? I have to just persuade it. So after last night when I said I was going to recut the velux windows, I've now recut those and stuck them in place so the velux are in. I've got the first row of tiles on. So I'm going to start working my way up through there. Yes, the windows here have all got blinds behind them, and I've modelled an interior so you can actually see through into the bedrooms. and the doors beyond, a bit more visible when the light's on. So there's a little Easter egg in that one. I don't know if you can make it out, but within that top bedroom window there's a little cat sat on the bed. You can just see through the window there. Let's see if we get out to on that actually as well, because the roof's open at the minute. Right, so I've now used that template, I can throw it away. Need to work on a template for the other side now. Thank you, Leslie. I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. This will need a bit of adjustment, and as you can see, there's a massive hole there that needs coming. No, it wasn't a good game at all. They were appalling. I mean, I know we were playing top of the table, but you'd expect a little bit of, effort, and there wasn't. So it was a very frustrating watch. A very frustrating watch indeed. I know. How long will it take to make? I expect I'll be on it for another 2 weeks at the very least, because I've got all the base. I've got the full landscape of the garden to make, which could quite easily take up as much time as it did to make the main body of the house. It's very time consuming, but it's an enjoyable task too. Now I think I've actually run out of Foamex. Is that going to be an absolute nightmare or what? You've given me a challenge, yes. First thing I start with is a photograph of the house, or in the case of this one, a plan, and then I've got to take it into I take it into Photoshop. The house. If I don't have any plans, I take the photographs into Photoshop and straighten them all up so I can work out how to make the drawing. But the first thing is to make a drawing, and then I mean, this is a complicated house because it's got lots of extensions and complicated roof lines and annoying little bumps that I've super glued down that need sorting out. So there's a massively complicated roof line, so this is not the simplest thing to start with, but say for example if you took that as being a simple house, 4 walls and a roof, so you make a box really, and start simple and work your way up through adding details. It's a very hard thing to sort of describe in its simplest form, but it's about starting simple really. You could, but I'm not going to answer. I'm afraid. You can ask me privately, but yeah, I don't think it's fair to talk about it, especially when he's watching. Shall we just say that on average a model takes around 80 to 100 hours, and minimum wage is £12.50 or something. I don't charge minimum wage, but thank you. Yeah, it is for something. I make scale models of people's actual houses on a commission basis. I don't know how to say that. So yes, I'm not quite full-time model maker, but yes, everything I make is a bespoke piece for a customer. So this is a scale replica of someone's actual house at 150 scale. Usually I work in 1/76 scale because it's because it's a model railway scale that I'm used to working in from the model railway world, but you can get a lot more detail with the bigger scales, and this one is kind of really just begging for extra detail really. So underneath here I had some little blobs of glue, so I've just had to discourage them from being stuck. I've just to take them out so I can get that flush, because I need those two surfaces to be flush. How many times can I say flush in the same sentence? So I'll just use this little tab of card to slide underneath. Make sure I don't lean in it now. And I'll just press that down. Hello Chris, how are you doing, fella? Oh, thank you, Colin. It does take a long time, and I don't know how many of you here have been watching from day one, but I mean, this is why I sort of live stream, so people can actually see just how much work goes into something like this. I mean, we're starting to get a lot more detailed now, but you do go through the stages of it just looking quite dull, and you know, just a simple box. But it slowly and surely starts to get that way. Now, I actually don't think I can carry on with the roof because I've not got a piece of foam that's big enough. And I haven't just stuck my finger to the roof, honest. I know. Especially after the other night when we got stuck on a loop on an unfortunate phrase. Now I do have a piece of Foamex left, but as you can see, it's not big enough. I want something that big. That makes less sense than the real thing, but absolutely. I had an amazing idea of trying to make a fir tree from just string, but there was a section involved which looked rather messy. I'm going to have to put that part of the roof on hold until I order some more Foamex, because I've used 10 sheets in making this, and they've all gone. So I'm not going to be able to finish that section of roof until I've got an order in, and they're usually next day. So obviously I won't be ordering until tomorrow, so it'll be around Thursday, Friday. What? He does have a big house. Foamex is on its way. Ah, that's excellent. We might have just rescued everything then. Just have a big house. It was it is a 1950s dormer bungalow. Well, it's not really a bungalow, but it's a dormer house. So when Andy bought it, it was a much smaller house, but over time, as families grown and such like, they've just extended it. So it now looks massive, but it's multiple extensions that have been sympathetically and stylishly done to match the rest of the house to make it look as one coherent whole. So it is rather an impressive looking house, but that's why it's in so many. That is why it's in so many different angles and shapes. What do I use for the grids? This is just a cutting mat, this grid here. Is that what you mean? I've cut a hole for the roof here, which I'm now going to... he is, isn't he? I've made it too big, so I just now need to sort of fill that in, otherwise I'm going to have a big hole. So I can use some scraps to do that. This is the complicated sort of bathroom area. It's what you find with the houses that have rooms in the roof line. You have some really strange walls going on. Now what I've just used there is some activator spray, which persuades the super glue to dry quicker, set quicker. So what's going to happen there by gluing that little triangle in, I can, when I put the final piece down, there isn't going to be a glaring hole there anymore. However, have I ever not been able to do a house? I haven't turned anything down. I have had some real big challenges. There's one that I had absolutely no idea how I was going to draw it up, because I didn't have any architect's plans and I had very limited photographs. But I was working with an architect on another job. I was doing a model for him, and as a favour I discounted the cost of his model if he could help me out with some architectural drawings. So because they're used to drawing things up from site and stuff, he very graciously redrew the house for me, so I was able to make elevations and come up with a drawing. So yeah, that was the hardest one to do, but it was a lot of the time I work off photographs and and Google Earth plans, and sometimes they're just not available, so you have to kind of do a little bit of modeller's license. In this case it was a gift and she was unable to, I've made it a bit short that, but I think with the final piece it'll be fine, and if not I can always just stick a sliver of paper in there to fill the hole. So yeah, the Google Earth wasn't very useful either, because it was heavily shaded with trees and I couldn't get a decent reading from it from street view because they were off the road. It was set back, so it was an absolute challenge. But like I say, I supplied the architect with enough information that they were able to do some drawings. So yeah, it does Una. In this instance, this is in Northern Ireland, so it's not easy to access. A lot of the time I don't actually need to, because I can work off plans. It is nice to see the actual thing, and if it's local to me within like 50 miles or so, I will go and do a site survey. So there's one coming up, which may be a slight delay on it now, but there's one coming up that's local to me. It's only about 10 minutes away. So I went over there and I was able to fully survey the house, take all the pictures I wanted, and do physical measurements. That's the word I was looking for. Which is a lot easier. But most of the time when I make models, they're purely by eye. Not purely by eye. Purely by photographs and Google Earth, Google Maps, things like that. Got myself distracted now, haven't I? Right, so that's going to have to wait until more Foamex arrives. Foamex is the material that I'm using to make the roof structure. I could use MDF, but it's a bit trickier to use, and everything else is Foamex, so I might as well stick with the material I've been using. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll have to have a trip. I haven't been to Ireland since we took a cruise across there a couple of years ago. That sounds awfully pretentious, doesn't it? We did a mini cruise across to Ireland, and that's my only experience of it so far. Really nice trip though. I mean, I do hand deliver lots of my projects. I would have been prepared to go across if transportation had been arranged, but Andy has offered to come over and pick it up himself as well. So do you mean you have one of the? I've cut that too short. That's with being distracted. Do you have one of the apartments in the old mansion house? I mean, I bet it'd be possible to do sort of a model of just the apartment, because you could take a sliver of the house, you know, like taking a cake slice out of it. So, for example, if your apartment was this bit, you could just do a model which was just the chunk of the apartment. Sorry, chunk of the mansion. I think that would look pretty cool. But the whole house would probably look good. I got asked to give a quote for a huge manor house last week. When I say huge, I mean it makes this look like a cottage. But I don't think I'll end up doing that. Not because I don't want to. I just don't think they'll go for it. I did an awesome carriage house in Ireland. It was in Dublin, so it was the carriage house that belonged to the castle that was no longer there, but the carriage house itself was absolutely splendid. It looked like a grand country house in its own right. That was a great model to make, and again that was quite difficult because although they supplied me with loads of photographs, that's the best they could do. And obviously it wasn't an easy one to go and survey, with it being in Dublin. And Google Earth was rubbish as well with that one, because not only was it quite heavily wooded, the region around it, so you couldn't get a decent view of it, but it also didn't have any 3D mapping, so everything was completely flat. So I was able to get a footprint of it and measure the footprint, but I really struggled with elevations, and especially the roofline. It was like this, in a way. There was complicated roof lines all coming off each other with dormer roofs and gables, but I managed to find some drone footage of a nearby housing estate that had been put together by the developer, and the carriage house just happened to be right on the edge of the plot, so the drone footage showed a little bit of it. Just enough that I was able to work out the roofline properly. So that was a stroke of luck. I've had some really easy houses to do in the past as well, you know, to sort of counter that. That's not right, that's not what I wanted to do, is it? Just a minute. When I say easy, I mean straightforward. Nothing's ever easy, but there are certain houses that are more straightforward than others. When it comes to things like semi-detached houses or terraced houses, you just treat them as a cake slice, like I was suggesting as a possibility with that apartment house. So you always, in the case of that, you just take the sliver out of the row of cottages. Or terraces is what I mean. And treat it as a standalone, as if it was like a detached house. You don't really want next door on, do you? Somewhere I had a little gauge and I've lost it now. Yes, I think it is. Thanks, Dave. It's certainly an interesting one. It is something I can really get into my teeth into because it's so big and detailed. What's going at the bit at the bottom? Which bit? You mean this bit here? Right, this bit here that I'm holding on to is actually underground. So I've built this deeper than it needs to be because I've set it at its lowest point. So this is the front door here. So the driveway and the walkway to it runs at this level. So that's ground level there. And then there's a set of steps that goes down there. And from that point goes down again until we get to ground level, which is here. And then put that back away again. It climbs back up again until we get to there. So that's why I've done this. So the whole thing is at its highest point. So there'll be a set of steps that rises from this point up to here, so you can walk all the way there in the house. So this bit is the ground level for the extension. So the extension will sit on like that there, and all this is ground level. So there was a lot of thinking about doing that because it's always easier to build the ground up to the model rather than trying to plonk the model onto the ground. And by doing that also, I'll be able to run paving or stone slabs, etc., right up to the wall there. So then it will give the house a completely sort of bedded into the environment look rather than a box sat on top of the floor. And this is just slightly over, so I just need to trim it. I'll probably need a fresh blade to do that. Thank you, Chris. Fresh blade. And watch out for fingers. You should never really cut towards yourself. You should never cut towards yourself, ever. But sometimes I do. Because it's easier to see where I'm going. Like someone said the other night, watch out for your fingers, but you do tend to get a bit of an awareness of where the blade's going to go. But now I've released that top bit, I can now get an angle on it and I can just carefully slice that excess off. And this is because I want to put more of that edging. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. That is good advice. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just what's more comfortable to be able to get the right cut. Hello, Helen. I'm making a scale model of my client's house in 150 scale. So I'm a model maker that specialises in making recreations of people's houses in miniature. So I've been commissioned to make this. I've probably far too much pencil mark on there. So yeah, I've touch wood. That is wood because it's MDF. I haven't sliced my finger off for a while. Not that it's a regular occurrence, but I used to quite often take the tips of my fingers off when cutting with a scalpel, because the worst thing to do is kind of when you're holding onto a ruler like this is your fingers have a tendency of sliding forwards, unless you get those rulers that have a finger guard, which are the best ones, so they stop your fingers from going to the edge. But the amount of times that I've had an overhanging thumb or a finger that I've gone straight through when I've cut, and because the knives are razor sharp, you don't actually notice until you've done it. By then you've got a little flap of skin or finger lying on the table, and you think, I probably shouldn't have done that. You're about to build a magic house model. Oh, brilliant, that sounds ace. Where did you get the kit from? I think it's a really fun. I know I scratch build everything, but I do think kits are fun. My son got an MDF cannon kit, a laser cut cannon kit for Christmas last year. Oh, brilliant. I like book nooks as well. I'm sure you'll have loads of fun with that. Yeah, my son got a really cool cannon, working cannon. It fired ping pong balls, but he got a cannon kit for Christmas last year, and him and his sister started making it, and then he got a little bit fed up and abandoned it. But this Christmas it's kind of still in its half-built box. But my daughter picked it up and she thought, right, I'm gonna spend a fair few hours on this, and I'm gonna do it. So she did. She just sat down and worked through the instructions. She loves stuff like that. She's really methodical when it comes to following instructions and stuff. So she had a whale of a time building that and did an excellent job on it. And it looks brilliant. Nice little kit. So if you're making kits, you get a real feel of how models go together. So your next stage after that is to try and building something yourself. She did. He was like, "Oh, cool, nice one." But she got the same Christmas. She got the it was like a puzzle box. So you build it up, and it's the same sort of thing. It's a massive laser cut kit, but it's a puzzle box, and it actually works. So you put in a secret code, and you have to turn dials and things. There was lots of cogs and what have you involved in it. Really complicated, but she managed to do that too. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of patience for that kind of thing, or his mind wanders quite quickly. So he was quite happy for her to continue doing it herself. This is quite awkward, this little run here. I'm just trying to get these two pieces to merge before I commit to gluing it. So it's just like a little piece of trim that comes out. I think that is going to be it. So I'm going to glue this on first. But I was going to stick it on and then trim it, but I think I'm actually going to be more sensible marking it first. and I don't end up with an awkward cut to make. Oh, did you? Oh, they're excellent, aren't they? But it had loads and loads of cogs, and if you got, it's like one of those things that if you got like something like a cannon or a house, if you get something a little bit wrong, it might just look a little bit wrong. But with this puzzle box, if she got one of the cogs in the wrong place, then that's it. The whole thing's ruined in terms of functionality. But yeah, she just sat down and worked it out. I mean, he has done like little model kits before. I used to love Lego when I was little, and the kids have played with Lego as well. So you know, it's gone through. It's gone through a generation. I used to just love making stuff from your imagination with Lego, just sort of like, you know, build the biggest house you could possibly build. I used to love building big, what I used to call hotels. So we had the, you know, the sort of standard 8 block of building blocks. What's it called? I think it has a proper word, doesn't it? But they have 8 knobs on them. 8 knobs, misses. I used to have loads of those in red and white. So I'd build as far as I could with the red bricks to represent the bricks, and then finish it off with an ever decreasing row of white blocks to make the roof. I would have liked to have made this the roof removable, so you could see inside, but with something this small scale, it's quite hard to hide the wiring. It's not impossible, but it's a completely different thing to think about when you're making. So in the end, we've just got it. We've got it sealed, but you can see, as a compromise, you can see in the windows. Thank you, James. You can see in the windows to see what's going on inside. I mean, you have to peer quite closely, and I think it's actually going to be quite difficult to see inside in the end, because there's going to be a quite substantial base all the way around it, which will mean visibility is limited. Is that the piece that's not the piece I just intended putting on, is it? That's far too long. How did I end up cutting that wrong? What have I just done with it? I think I've just cut the wrong end off, haven't I? Unless it was that one. I don't think it was that one either, was it? Oh yes, it was. That looked too small, but it's not. Just overhangs a little bit on the side there. So these, although you're probably again not going to see much of this apart from a different angle, but they have got like a wooden plank pattern engraved underneath. Those are, in case you're wondering, those are indeed Jenga blocks that I've used as a bit of foundation. They're just squaring it off, but it's an old set that was going to go in the bin because there were loads missing, but I decided to use them as model making supplies. It's eventually going to have a fascia that covers the double row up. Yeah. I use them to glue them together to create bases and things. I swear by thick super glue, so because I'm using multiple various materials, PVA isn't a great glue. For making MDF kits, laser cut plywood kits and such like, then wood glue is brilliant, PVA wood glue. Only thing is you've got to wait for each component to set before you can move on to the next. So even though I'm quite a patient modeler, I'm an impatient modeler when it comes to waiting for things to set, so I use super glue so it dries quickly, but as you can see sometimes it doesn't. The only way you can ensure that super glue is going to stick first time is if you stick it to your hand or to somewhere you don't want it to stick, then it's going to stick first time and as solid as you like. But joking aside, activator spray doubled up with viscous super glue produces a good bond. You can see that's now. I'm not going to spray it because it will come off, but that's stuck now. So I've actually gone round with a single layer everywhere now, so I can now double it up. I've only got the one piece left, so I'm going to have to be quite sparing. But like I say, it all depends what I haven't finished yet, have I? It all depends what you're gluing. All depends what you're gluing. Lie this on its back a minute. Oops, that went too far now. Note the absolutely battered ruler. Whatever inks they use to print rulers with, they don't like solvents. So whenever you've got solvent nearby or white spirit or something and you're trying to clean, it tends to take the number finish off. So I will be doubling up this row. I'll need to make an extra thickness, so I've done it in 2mm first. So I'm going to add an extra depth to it, and then that is going to be the little fascia that the drain pipe guttering fixes to. This only needs a small sliver of wood just to come underneath. I'll come around the corner of the wall there. In fact, would it be better with 2 pieces? Would 2 pieces be the right depth? I think 2 is actually. It's only coming over a little, not a lot. Not a lot. Who said that? Does it show my age? If nobody knows what that catchphrase was, it does. Indeed it was, Julian. I thought nobody was actually going to say anything then. Thanks, Anne. Was it over budget? No, not yet. Just push that to one side so I don't end up leaning in it. I've ruined so many jumpers and sweatshirts through inadvertently leaning on super glue. Not a lot. It was a catchphrase. Paul Daniels. You'll like this. Not a lot. Yes, I do sell it. It's this is a commission piece. So this is a scale recreation of my client's house. So overall it's going to take around 100 hours or so. Do I find parts in a skip? Yes, I tend to use bits of insulation foam from the skips, plastic bottles. So all these windows have been made out of Fanta bottles. The walls are made out of old eggshells. And I'm going to tile the roof with tea bags. Do I use wood? Sometimes I use wood. The biggest part of this model is made with MDF. So the outer shell is MDF. These bits are MDF pieces, but the roof and the side walls of all the inside is yeah. Joking aside, I do actually use tea to make flock. It does actually work, but you have to make sure you thoroughly dry it first, otherwise you run the risk of inviting mould. Done there. Oh, nothing. Doesn't matter. Yeah, you run the risk of inviting mould into the equation, so it has to be thoroughly dry. Yes, I will do, Helen. I always post the finished thing. I know it's not easy to always catch something like this and see the finale. My most frustrating thing is when you're scrolling through somewhere like Facebook, you see something interesting looking and it says, see next video for the final results, and then you realise that you have no idea where the final video is going to be because they've got loads of stuff up there. But yes, I will show the final thing on and there's no doubt there is going to be plenty of footage on social media of this in my various places, but I'm sure Andy's going to be showing it off to within an inch of its life when we're done. I'd say we're about 2 or 3 weeks away from finishing it. We're in week 3 already. Okay, what did I do with... Oh, it is. There it is. That battery's gone again. Excuse me, would you like to stick, please? This is one of those instances where super glue's not being super. And I need extra hands. Only day 1 of week 3. Yeah, I haven't really had a proper day at it yet, have I? Monday I was out playing football, tonight I was out watching football. Am I doing anything? I think tomorrow I might have my first full day in it this week. Although saying that, I had a day off yesterday, which meant I could do a bit of work during the day. Didn't live stream it though. Oh, thank you, Helen. It's been nice having you asking questions. They're always welcome. Good. I'd be interested to hear how your kit goes. I'm glad you found it interesting. And thank you for finding me. Right, I have gone round and done layer 1 everywhere now, so I can just go over and double up the thickness with this. Like I said, there will be fascia pieces going on this afterwards. Sometimes I've just got to wiggle my finger to let you know it's not glitched. I'll hold it in place while it glues. There you go, that's fully set. So this would glue really solidly with wood glue, but you'd have to clamp it and leave it overnight, or leave it for a few hours at least for it to bind. So unless you're planning very well on doing other sections, it's not it's not a quick way of doing it. See, something like a razor saw would be very useful here. I know I've glued it on this time as well, so I need to do a bit of trimming to keep my hand well away from it. No, I didn't see that, but yes, I'm aware it is kind of bedtime. You get into the groove of doing something and you just don't want to stop, but sensibly, because I've got the day job to go to tomorrow, I need to pack it in now. I know some people are proper night owls, but I'm not. Although sometimes if I'm deep into a project, I just need to carry on. Stomach rumbling. So cheers. I'll just stick this bit on and then I'll go. I haven't done a photo update for a while, have I, Pip? I'll try and get a how it looks now photograph, because I know it's not always easy to see in portrait mode on here. So I'll take a progress photo tomorrow, and I'll get that posted on the Discord group and on the socials, because nobody's seen an update for a while either. This little bit of etching on top is not a visible detail, it's just, it works better if it's on top than underneath. But then again, I'm covering it with a fascia panel, so it doesn't matter either way. I just really need it to be flush, which will help me stick. There we go. Right, I'm going to go. I did say I was going to go, so I need to go. So that's how we're looking at the moment. We've still got a bit of edging to do, but it's starting to look more and more like the real thing as we go. I just realised I need to do all these as well, so I haven't finished. I need to cut some more of these. So tomorrow I'm going to cut myself a load of these, because I need to do all the edging around all the dormers as well. There's more than I thought was going to be. I thought I'd only need a few pieces, but obviously I don't. I need more. So I'll cut those before I start tomorrow, and if we can get a good